Have you ever heard somebody say, man, that guy's dumb as a rock? Or how about this one? Are you dense? They're talking about first density consciousness, which, how is a rock conscious? So we're going to take a deep dive into first density. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about memory storage. Computer chip in your computer and your smartphone and all those devices. Silicon wafers. What is silica? It's sand. Sand is a huge percent silica and quartz, capable of bringing energy in. They can understand on and off, yes or no, 1 or 0. Or like a couple videos ago, I had a yin and yang diagram, light, dark. Similar thing with silica and quartz. That's why they're used in memory chips. So as far as sand goes, here's a story. One time I was walking on the beach, Guadalupe Dunes, central coast of California, and I saw footprints in the sand. And just for fun, I kind of got into those footprints, just to, I'm going to step where that person stepped. And so this is like mid-2000s, like maybe 2004, 5, or 6. Somehow, I pulled in the feelings, this sounds crazy, of whoever that was. And I kind of knew at the time it was somebody in despair and a female. And I kind of just held on to this story because it kind of sounds like a little weird. But hey man, wow. And I didn't really give it much credence until, like recently, looking at these different densities and consciousness, and I realized that thing that happened back in the mid-2000s was probably pulled straight out of the silica of the sand, and a conscious memory of whoever had just walked in those footprints. Yeah, I believe it now. Let's talk about crystals. Crystals have a silica content. Crystals have the ability to carry a conscious memory. Crystals actually grow. Sand, on the other hand, tends to deteriorate, chip away, and become finer and finer. How many of you saw that movie, Everything, All the Time, All at Once, or whatever it's called? There's a scene in that movie where there's these two rocks, they're sitting on the edge of a cliff, and they're having a conversation, and, one of them's going to jump. And it's like, rocks aren't animated, so that's not how it is. But try to look at it like this. Look at your own human body. You're conscious. You know what you're doing. You make things happen in your world, and you can think. But you grow things like hair, fingernails, skin fragments, and so forth. So when you clip your fingernail off, that is not its own separate consciousness. You grew that. Very similar with rocks. Okay, Mother Gaia, the planet Earth, has its own consciousness and has its own growth pattern. There's fluids, there's gases, and there's solids like rocks all over this beach that I'm on. They're not their own separate thing, but were created from conscious Mother Gaia. Ultimately, this comes from source energy. If you look at the different wavelengths of light that we're able to see, we've just got like a very narrow band that we can see in the light spectrum. So way beyond that is where you find source energy and another huge, massive amount of consciousness.